Good morning, students. Let us continue with the chapter of Superstitions by A.G. Gardner. I am not sure that I could go into the witness box and swear that I am wholly immune to these idle superstitions myself. After talking about himself, he says that I am not sure that I can go there in the witness box and I can take an oath that I am completely free, I am completely exempted from these baseless, unreal, idle superstitions. It is true that of all the buses in London, that number 13 chances to be the one that I constantly use. He says, this is the reality that all the buses which are having number 13 in London, he says that I regularly use. And I do not remember until now ever to have associated the superstition with it. Until now, he says that I just can't remember that there has been any accident of the bus that was having number 13. And certainly I have never had anything but the most civil treatment for it. Certainly he says that the treatment of the bus number 13, the behavior in the bus number 13, it was quite civil, I have experienced. It is as well behaved a bus and as free from unpleasant associations as any on the road. He says that whereas bus number 13 is concerned, it is well behaved bus as other buses are. It is free from unpleasant associations. It is free from accidents as other number buses are on the road. I would not change its number if I had the power to do so. He says that if I have power, if I am given the power to change the number of the bus, he says that I will not change the number of the bus because there is nothing in the number 13 according to the author. But there are other circumstances of which I should find it less easy to clear myself of suspicion under cross-examination. Whereas 13 number bus is concerned, he is quite clear that it is not associated with unpleasant associations. But he says that there are other circumstances, there are other conditions. He says that of which I should find it less easy to clear myself. Where I find myself that I am having some sort of belief in such things. When I cross-examine myself, I find that I am not free from such things. I never see a ladder against a house side without feeling that it is advisable to walk round it rather than under it. He says that whenever I see there is a ladder outside the house, one idea strikes in my mind that I should cross the ladder by walking round the ladder, not under the ladder. Against a house side without feeling that it is advisable to walk. It is advisable, it is good to walk round it rather than under it. It is good to walk round the ladder rather than walking under the ladder. I say to myself that this is not a homage to a foolish superstition. I talk to myself and say that it is not a tribute to a foolish superstition, but a duty to my family. To keep myself safe, it is my duty for my family. That's why I always consider that one should cross the ladder by walking round it rather than under it. One must think of one's family. It is everybody's moral duty that they should always think about their families. The fellow at the top of the ladder may drop anything. Suppose you are passing under the ladder, the fellow who is residing there on the first floor may fall, may drop anything, and that can harm you. He may even drop himself. This is also a possibility that he may also fall upon you. He may have had too much drink. This is another possibility that the person standing on the first floor might have drunk excessively. A drunkard person, he can be down on you, he can fall on you. He may be a victim of epileptic fits. Another possibility, the person residing there may be suffering from a disease or disease of fits, epileptic fits. And epileptic fits, as everyone knows, come on at the most unseasonable time and places. He says that everybody knows that epileptic fits, they have no certainty. They can be there at any place, at any time. It is a mere measure of ordinary safety to walk round the ladder. It is not the homage to the superstition, but it is only a measurement of safety that I walk round the ladder. No man is justified in inviting danger in order to flaunt his superiority to an idle fancy. If anybody does so, if anybody invites danger just in order to prove that he is superior to the idle fancies, to the superstitions, that person is not justified. Moreover, probably that fancy has its root in the common sense fact that a man on the ladder does occasionally drop things. Moreover, he says, probably that fancy, that idle fancy, that superstition has its base, its roots in the common sense fact. It is a common sense fact that the person who is there on the first floor occasionally drops things down. No doubt many of our superstitions have these commonplace and sensible origins. He says that there is no doubt there are number of superstitions whose origin is very sensible and very commonplace. Logic is there behind such fancies, such superstitions. I imagine, for example, that the Jewish objection to pork as unclean on religious grounds is only due to the fact that in eastern climates it is unclean on physical grounds. He provides an example. He says that Jewish, they object pork, the flesh of pig, on religious ground. They say that it is religiously unholy to eat pork. But the fact is there, the climate of Eastern countries, that is not appropriate for eating pork. He says that the fact that in Eastern climates it is unclean on physical grounds, whereas the climate of Eastern country concerned, if pork is eaten there, it is unclean, it is dangerous, whereas whereas the body is concerned. That's why the pork is not recommended by Jews, but it was rejected on the basis of religion. That's all about today's lecture. We shall continue in the next lecture. Thank you.